Oh, hey guys. Halloween's over, and it's time to get reacquainted with my good old friend Diabetes. Now that October's over and the spooky season is done, I don't think anything could possibly scare me. Jesus!
EA's Star Wars Battlefront 2. Oh boy. This game originally released in 2017. A great year for Star Wars, just full of happy fans. Happy fans. Happy fans. Oh my god.
Honestly, I don't know which one of these was worse. But only one of them stopped of today's video.
I'll get to you eventually. So Battlefront 2, a game that came out surrounded by controversy. This was a full $60 to $80 game, depending on which version you purchased, of course, that was littered with loot boxes. That's right, they put gambling in a Star Wars game. Damn it, EA! Besides that whole issue, EA also lied about the game in the marketing. So to give you guys some context, one of people's biggest issues with EA's first Battlefront game was the lack of a single player campaign. So EA then promises that there will be one in the next game, and fans were happy with that announcement. Then EA tells us that the campaign will be from the view of an Imperial soldier post Return of the Jedi, and the excitement was through the roof at this announcement. This sounded amazing! However, the game then came out, and obviously people played this campaign, and 2 hours in...
So, what's it going to be?
Are you kidding me? Look, I could make a whole video on how terrible this campaign and its free expansion are, but everybody said that, so why bother? Off the topic of the campaign, EA also said that this game would include all 3 eras of the Star Wars Skywalker saga. This was also great news, as another large complaint people had with the first game was that it was only the original trilogy, when a game that came out in 2005 had more content. So obviously, people thought when Battlefront 2 came out that it would have a similar amount of content to 2005 Battlefront 2. Well, it didn't. It had far less. 2005 Battlefront 2 had more heroes, villains, modes to play, it had bots, and had a better campaign. And it also wasn't pay to win.
I bought this game for $80 on release. Yeah, I hate myself too.
Now there have been a lot of updates to this game, as EA promised that they would periodically release free DLC, which would include new modes, heroes, and villains. And I'm going to take a look at all the main game modes in this game, but mainly focus on the newer ones. Now you guys must be thinking, there can't have been that much change since launch. Well, here's my biggest example of this. Here's the character screen at launch, and here's what it looks like now.
Oh, I'm not hallucinating. Now obviously I'm not going to play every new and old map in this game. However, I am going to focus on all of the modes in this game and take a fair shot at them, meaning I'm going to play about 2 or 3 rounds of each of them.
Battlefront 2's multiplayer is split into 3 categories: Heroes and Villains, Assault, and Operations. Starting off with Heroes and Villains, we have 2 modes that are so dead I couldn't even get into a match, and Heroes vs. Villains. This mode is basically just iconic characters from the entire Skywalker saga duking it out. However, people tend to rage quit this mode a lot. This is because the whole mode is based around who can team up on who better. Also, the lightsaber users far overpower the blaster users, so this mode tends to be extremely unbalanced. Moving on, let's take a look at Operations. Now, there's only 2 modes here, which are Blast and Ewok Hunt. Blast is a very standard mode. It's just simply the first team to 100 kills wins. The problem with this mode, I noticed, was that the sides are very unbalanced. For example, the Resistance Jet Trooper is much better than the First Order one, so that alone caused enough problems. Also, the mode almost made me rage quit with how horrible the spawns are in this map. I was getting killed before I could even pull the trigger because people just can't spawn. but this seemed to only be an isolated incident on that map, as I found my second round on Theed to be much better. Ewok Hunt, on the other hand, is an entirely new and original mode. This was added post-launch as part of a Halloween event. It had enough popularity to eventually come back as a full-time mode. This mode takes place after the Battle of Endor. You play as stormtroopers trying to escape and board their shuttle. However, the Ewoks aren't having it and are mercilessly hunting you down. This mode is kind of like an infected mode. As a stormtrooper, you are blind and can only see with either natural lighting or your flashlight, which needs refueled constantly. However, you only get one life as a stormtrooper. Once you die and respawn, you come back as an Ewok and have to hunt down the remaining troops. Stormtroopers may do tons more damage, but an Ewok can see in the dark and even has an ability that lets them see the silhouette of nearby troopers, and they also have many other small tricks up their sleeves.
Now this mode is actually pretty fun, and it is actually also very challenging. It brings a little bit of variety to this game, and that's something that this game lacked upon launch.
And finally, we move on to the largest category, Assault. Now starting off with the smallest mode, we have Strike/Extraction. What kind of a name is that? Just pick one or the other. Basically, it's just one team takes the payload to one location, while the other team tries to stop them at all costs. It's still kind of fun though, and it's quite challenging. The other of the smaller modes is Starfighter Assault. It's really just dogfighting. This mode includes objective-based things like blow this up, or destroy X amount of enemy ships. So that's really it. Don't get me wrong, this mode is still really fun, and it's still one of the best in this game. At launch, this was actually probably the best mode in the game. Funny how this is the only mode not made by DICE.
Yes, I know this is a controversial opinion, but I don't think DICE is all that good at making games. I mean, yes, it could also be EA's influence on them, but have you seen Battlefield 5?
Galactic Assault, a mission-based mode which is supposed to be more like an actual battle from in the movies. These battles range from anything like rebels raiding the second Death Star to the second Battle of Geonosis, or even the First Order's attack on Crate. Now honestly, all of these battles are pretty well put together. The objectives are always well thought out. The sides seem to be pretty even, and honestly it's a fun time. Except I have one issue with this mode. Anyone else remember when Darth Vader came back to life and attacked the Resistance on Crate?
You guys were so close. You had the cinematic feel of the battles. The flow was good. The action was great. But seeing heroes from the other eras takes you out of the experience. I get why they did this at launch, because there wasn't many heroes or villains. But now you have enough for each era. This game mode's just turned into heroes running around and ruining the entire map. The game mode starts out fine, but it's just chaotic at the end and stops being fun. If only there was one mode where all the problems in Galactic Assault were fixed. Yes!
Oh my god, this mode is amazing! It's a long, drawn-out, grueling battle that takes place during the Clone Wars. This mode starts out with both sides trying to capture vantage points on the battlefield. After this, the winning side will board the shuttles and invade the enemy ship. If they succeed, the enemy ship explodes. If they fail, it just rinse and repeat until somebody wins. This mode can last hours depending on how even the teams are, and only 2 heroes are out at once for each side, so there aren't overpowered characters running the whole map. On the topic of the map, these maps are huge and gorgeous. There's so many places to go and so much strategy behind this mode. This was the last mode ever added to the game, and it is by far the best one.
Now before I wrap everything up, I just want to take a look at the smaller things that were added to the game.
Other things added since launch were a bad story expansion, new clones and droids, new heroes and villains, better customization, and overall improvements to the menu screens. And best yet, all of the loot boxes are completely gone. All of the changes made to this game are honestly really good and improved it significantly. But at the same time, that's the biggest issue here.
Now, this is where my praises for this game end. Look, this game now is a 7 out of 10 without a doubt. Sure, I nitpicked some modes, but honestly, I had a lot of fun with all of them. And Supremacy might be the best mode I've ever played in a shooter game. And that's coming from someone who doesn't really play shooters. However, this is fun I should have been having 2 years ago.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 is just another example of a game that corporate rushed out way too early. EA is just a money-hungry company and wanted to release this game alongside the new movie to make a few extra bucks, rather than delay it a few months so it could be a finished product when it came out. Alongside this game being unfinished upon release, it was littered with loot boxes and a bad progression system. And yes, DICE did apologize for this and actually did fix the game, but this was not fully their fault. This was EA's. EA had this games as a service mindset and it's clearly not working for them. Just earlier this year, their newest multiplayer game, Anthem, flopped for the same reasons and even worse. This should be a lesson to all of these big companies to stop releasing unfinished games. It's happening too much now, and all it's doing is hurting the industry and the developers who put their hearts and souls into these games.
As of the time of this recording, EA's next Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order, is just around the corner. Will this be one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made, or will this be another flop on EA's record? We'll find out next time on Thunder Reviews.